Hello everybody. So today's video is not a deep dive. I released a deep dive this morning on a single stock. No, today's video is more of an overview slash celebration video slash sadness video, hence the title. I will miss this bear market because it seems like everything's going up. And it's annoying when you're a net buyer of stock and when you don't plan on retire. And, I think it's the case of many people on this channel. You're still going to be buying more stocks and it's going up. Anyways, Microstrategy was actually the highlight. It was way up in the morning. In the morning, it was up 5%, ended up closing minus 4%. And now after hours, up 2.24%. The market really doesn't know what to do with that one. There's been a lot of traditional analysts raising their price target. One of the big Wall Street ones gave it a 225 price target. Bitcoin is going up. Make no mistake, when Bitcoin goes up, theoretically MicroStrategy should go up too. But MicroStrategy kind of went well ahead and went up well ahead of Bitcoin. So I wouldn't be surprised if the stock took a breather for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Something like that. But over the long run, the story remains the same. The story is short the US dollar, issue bonds, borrow the money, short the US dollar by borrowing the money, and then buy the hardest asset, which is Bitcoin, and then convert those bonds into shares at a later date. And of course, you convert it at a price per share that is much lower than where it will presumably be trading 5 years, 6 years, 8 years from now. They're issuing bonds, out to 2032 now in the case of MicroStrategy. So that's the dual prong approach. You're both shorting the US dollar and you're buying Bitcoin with that. And I think that's a powerful strategy. The reason why, don't ask me why the stock has run up so much over the past few days. I mean, some people may be realizing the playbook. I think it's also highly possible that Reddit has something to do with it. Stock tweets, Twitter. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of chatter. A lot of people are picking up on the thesis, and so it's a fine line between maybe the stock getting ahead of itself, maybe a bubble forming, and just simply the market trying to figure out what's the true valuation, what's the ratio, what's the price to net asset value that a company like MicroStrategy should have. Right now, it's a little bit more than a 3. Should it be 5? Should it be 8? Right? Should it be like a tech company? We don't know. The market is still trying to figure out how to value this company. It's a roller coaster on the brokerage account, but nonetheless, to me, this remains a long-term hold. I think sometimes it may be wise to sell it if you're in a tax-free account. But if you're holding this in taxable accounts, no financial advice, but I hold most of my MicroStrategy in taxable accounts, and so I don't want to pay the taxes, and so I'm holding it for the longest time. Maybe I'll sell it one day. I don't know, but this is your Bitcoin strategy. This is your stock strategy. Is you buy the asset, and then maybe 20 years from now, when the asset is very valuable, you borrow against it, right? That's how a lot of people do it. That's how billionaires do it. That's how a lot more Gen Z, Gen X, millennials are doing it and going to do it. That's the way to short the US dollar. MicroStrategy, in my view, the run is nowhere near done. Nowhere near done now. Let's talk about two other stocks that have run, and that has become annoying because, well, it's less annoying for Celsius. I've been buying Celsius for a while. I've been covering Celsius for a while. Now made quite a bit of videos about Celsius, about it being in the 30s, finding it too cheap. It's running, right, in a matter of 7 days. It ran plus 21%, let's call it, another 0.8%, so 22% it ran roughly in a 7 day if you count after hours. That stock, Celsius, is doing well. The market is freaking out because Pepsi overorder. I think that's all to it. I went to Costco yesterday. There were 3 pallets. They were 80% empty. I went towards close at Costco. 3 pallets, 80% were gone. They had just a row of like a stack of 2 or 3 boxes on each level left. So to give you an idea, I know it's not I talk retail and talk SKUs, but they essentially sold more than 2 pallets in one Costco Sundays. Pallets, right? Pallets. These are packs of 24, 12. So anyways, to me, anecdotal evidence, but the anecdotes keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger. I think this is headed the way of Monster, and that's why I own it. I'm happy to own it. I am so sad about E.L.F. Beauty spiking up. Like, this is the second day when this stock is spiking up plus 5%. The market had beaten it down to 110. Hopefully it stays down a little longer. It's noteworthy to say that I think the Piper Sandler survey on teenagers, average age 16, right? So they did a survey of young people. The top cosmetics brand for young people, the top cosmetic brand for them is E.L.F. Beauty. For young women, right? And for Celsius is also a top brand, a top 3 beverage brand for young people. So these two are doing very well in my view. I've covered them extensively into the 2 separate deep dive that I did a print screen for you on this one. Let me move on to SOFI. So SOFI, as far as my channel story, is SOFI. It's a story I believe in. I've covered it in the past. I own the stock. It's actually a fairly decent position for me. I'm talking not a 1% position. This is a multi-percent position for me. But I don't cover it because you have entire channels dedicated to just covering SOFI, right? Future Invest comes to mind, right? You have entire channels who just cover SOFI. So I don't want to cover SOFI because everybody covers it. I'll just tell you my thought about this. My thought about this is great because we know that SOFI only lands to high credit scores. They only land to the highest and the best credit scores. They want borrowers to have income of 150,000. They want credit scores in the high 700s. That's who they lend to, maybe 750, right? That's who they lend to. And so whenever one of their customers applies for a loan, well, that loan application, SOFI may not want to take that loan because you're not prime of the prime. You're not the cream of the crop. You just happen to be prime and not triple prime. And because you're just prime, SOFI wants to still make money off of you, and they are offloading you to their new partner now, which is Fortress Investments, which is going to fund up to 2 billion of personal loans. And so that means that SOFI will make money still, but it will not make money in the form of interest risk and repayment risk. It will make money in the form of loan origination and servicing fees, and it's going to be fee-based revenue. And so the company is going to be trading less on the basis of capital, more on the basis of the fees that they earn, kind of living up to the name of being called SOFI Technologies, being a tech company earning fees, as opposed to being a bank. And if you follow the channel, you know that I've turned kind of sour with SOFI ever since they removed crypto from their offering. And that happened when they became a bank. They removed crypto because they became a bank. And as a result of that, they had to force me to sell some crypto. And I am not the only one who was using SOFI for crypto and was forced to sell crypto. I'm gonna get over it, no worries. But I think it's a problem that they don't have the asset that the generation that it's catering to has. Robinhood, on the other hand, it has crypto, which is the asset that they want. Now, kudos to SOFI. Lots of great offerings in other sector. This is clearly a good deal for SOFI, and SOFI is finally getting out of its range. You know, they cannot remember. I mean, this stock has been trading around $7 forever. It's like it's been one of the sleepiest stocks out there. It got out of the range. This is great. You know, hopefully this happens to StoneCo at some point too. Stonier, which is another stock that I like very much, but that I seem to be the only one to like. So moving on to HIMS. Not much to say about HIMS except I will repeat my video. HIMS does not sell tirzepatide. They don't sell Zepbound. Zepbound is made by Eli Lilly, a company from Minneapolis. And they had said that the shortage was over, and they got off the shortage list for Zepbound, i.e. tirzepatide, i.e. a drug that is not sold by HIMS. And you may remember HIMS crashed whenever the drug not sold by HIMS, Zepbound, was taken off the shortage list, and now HIMS stock is back up. Now that same drug that HIMS does not sell may be up to be considered to get back on the shortage list. So in both cases, it's a drug that HIMS doesn't sell, But it seems like HIMS is trading on news on that drug. And of course, the market may be trading because of that, because they may say, oh, well, it's an opportunity for HIMS in the future to sell that drug if it's on the shortage list. And I say the market is not that smart. The market must look at a basket of all of these online prescribers, and it has decided to assign HIMS to a seller of tirzepatide. And so that's why you may remember a few weeks back, maybe a month back, there was a rumor saying that Lilly was collecting data to maybe sue sellers of tirzepatide, and HIMS sold off because Lilly was going to sue sellers of tirzepatide. That was the story on FinTweet, the story in the market. And I was like, come on, HIMS does not sell that. Like if Lilly sues, they're not going to sue HIMS because HIMS does not sell tirzepatide. HIMS could be sued by Novo Nordisk, but Novo Nordisk is more of a European-centric company, and they are further ahead in their shortage. That would be valid, but this is not a Novo Nordisk news. This is a Lilly news, and HIMS does not sell. Tirzepatide doesn't sell Zepbound. The stock is still trading around that for some reason. By the way, I highly recommend that, if you're interested in that, listen to the CEO of Eli Lilly, the interview that he did on the All In podcast. I should have put a print screen on this. Absolutely outstanding. If we think GLP-1 opportunities are the end of it, the answer to that is no. There will be more opportunities following GLP-1. And some of the statistics about GLP-1 in the US were quite impressive. The CEO was saying 11% of Americans are purported to be taking a GLP-1 drug of one form or another. And this may go up to 30%, right? Up to 30% by the end of this decade. So this is a major opportunity for HIMS. It's just not a big part of the revenue yet, and it's not a big part of the profits yet. But the market is forward-looking, and it's thinking ahead of that opportunity. It will be a major opportunity, but if you look at the company it's still not the main thing that they sell, right? So that's important to add that back in the analysis. And lastly, I will conclude this video talking about Cleanspark and IREN. And there's a lot of confusion on these companies. I like them both. I like Cleanspark because Cleanspark fits the type of company, the type of Bitcoin miner that I will like to hold, that I would like to hold. That is, you're diversified, you're in multiple states, you're highly efficient, you run your own software. Like one of the things Cleanspark does is they get these mining devices, they install their own software on it, they do everything in conjunction with the grid. It's fascinating to listen to the history of Cleanspark and how they got to doing what they were doing. They are highly efficient because they have some of that grid expertise and some of that IT expertise. But they're not the only efficient Bitcoin miner. You could tell me Riot is good. There's a few other good ones. What else do they have good for them is that they hold Bitcoin. They're a Bitcoin holder. And lastly, they have a clear vision and a clear story in the market. They just mine Bitcoin. They never ever said they were going to mine anything else. They just mine Bitcoin. So you have clear vision. They hold Bitcoin. They're efficient. They're diversified. It's all I want in a Bitcoin miner, right? So I hold it because of that. It's a much smaller position than MicroStrategy for me, but anybody who was buying MicroStrategy in the 200 between if you were buying MicroStrategy between 150 and 250 pre-split, right? A year and a half, 2 years back, MicroStrategy probably has a position in portfolio you wish you didn't have because it's so big, right? I mean, you wish you have it. I'm happy I have it, but it's like it ran so much. Cleanspark hasn't ran as much. I think this is a company who's going to be much more correlated to Bitcoin than say a MicroStrategy, as we saw the correlation dropped a little bit. Cleanspark and IREN to a lesser extent, but Cleanspark, in my view, will be highly correlated to the Bitcoin price, and that's why that stock was up 15% today. What if Bitcoin gets to 85, 100? What will be the price of Cleanspark? Well, it will be a multiplier, and it might be kind of a neat multiplier, and you could say maybe it's going to be a 2.5x faster, maybe it's going to be a 3x faster, but you're going to have a neatness, a consistency over time of the multi player for a miner. It's kind of a more straightforward business. I emphasize the diversification, the clear vision of Cleanspark, in contrast to IREN. And this is not to say that IREN does not have a clear vision. This is to say that I think the reason why IREN is so cheap is because they are confusing to Wall Street. They are confusing to Wall Street. Wall Street is confused. They're like, IREN, what are you? I thought you were going to be a Bitcoin miner. And yes, they are. And I thought you were going to have a great, efficient Bitcoin fleet. And yes, they will. But then you don't hold Bitcoin on your balance sheet. You don't like Bitcoin. You don't want to own Bitcoin. And so, of course, that doesn't go well among an analyst who's trying to buy only a Bitcoin miner and only focuses on Bitcoin, or an investor only buys Bitcoin. That's point number one. And then you confuse the investor even more with the AI pivot and the H100 and the H200s that they bought, which they predict will be 10% of the profits within the next 12 months. That leaves a less clear story to the market, and that's why I believe this stock is one of the most undervalued play that I've seen in a very, very long time. And in fact, in my last video that I did on IREN, right here, it's called AI, BTC, and energy. When you start to do a sum of the parts analysis, you're having a really hard time understanding how this company is valued, because it's got a 1.52 billion market cap, it's got 411 million in cash. Your enterprise value for it is 1.1 billion. But then you got to take into account the value of the mining rigs, and per my estimate, they have 586 million of mining rigs, 68 million of NVIDIA GPUs, 750 million on developed facilities, and 452 million of undeveloped power access, undeveloped facilities, giving it an adjusted enterprise value. If you subtract all of the sellable stuff, all of the stuff that they can sell today, I get an enterprise value of a minus 747. So it's either the market is highly inefficient, which I believe it is, or it's me, I'm way off in my calculation, and I'm way off in my estimate of power. But I don't really think I am, because this is a company that has access to over 2 gigawatts of power, and so if you put that into perspective, ask yourself how much a nuclear reactor costs, right? And you put these costs into perspective to the energy access that they have, and yes, that energy is stranded, but just because the energy is stranded doesn't mean you can't use it for AI training. Right? You can't use it for inference, but you can use it for AI training, and you can especially use it for Bitcoin mining. So the value alone of that access to power, they really got that access to power at a moment in the market. I don't know how they got it so cheap. That's my take on IREN. I don't know how they got it so cheap. So to me, IREN is more for an energy play, because it doesn't have what I look for in a miner, in a miner, which I want a hodl. They don't have a hodl, but it's definitely a play on the access to the energy and a play on the market being inefficient on that one. That's the way I view it. Cleanspark, IREN, they were way up today. Why? Because Bitcoin is finally waking up after being sleepy for 6 months. It's finally waking up. The election's coming up. After the election, I think these are assets that will perform even better. No financial advice, of course. I look forward to, the first week of November, right? I look forward to November 7. I look forward to November 8. November 8 is what I look forward to. Anyways, all right. Thank you so much for watching. No investment advice, no financial advice, just entertainment only on this channel. Entertainment. Please like, please subscribe, please follow me on X. And I actually had ran out of seats on the Patreon, and I opened it back up. And I'm still figuring out the Patreon and how it works. But anyways, I've put more seats now, and so now there shouldn't be a problem with people signing up. I couldn't believe that would happen. That happened. So go figure. But anyways, I have a Patreon. I'm working on it. I'm making it better and better and better. And thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.